So the place where she has only one friend, that is Judwin. She was fascinated by nature. She used to watch the puppet show or maybe some snake charming like this. There are many places where she would stop and watch everything. How much ever she tried, she could not avoid getting her hair cut. Only intention that she wanted to get rid of all these practices. She wanted to remove all these thoughts from the people's mind. Hello everyone. A very warm welcome to all the young minds of Class 12 Cbse. I am Dr. Shalini, your English teacher at Prep School. Today we are here to understand one of the lessons from your vistas, that is Memories of Childhood. What is there in today's session? Let us understand. We are going to understand about the author first, then we will learn the theme. Then we will move on to the summary of the story. Okay. So what are the stories we are going to learn under this, the Memories of Childhood? We have two different parts there. Okay. So to begin with, so the first part what you have is the cutting of my long hair, and the second part what you have is the we too are human beings. Okay. So these are the two stories you have under this, the Memories of Childhood. Okay. The first author is Vidhyaashram, the second one is Bama. Okay, so Vidhyaashram was actually a Native American. So she had a very long hair and she writes about that cutting of long hair in this story. Okay, so she is a Native American and her original name was Gertrude Simmons Bonin. Okay, so like the christened name, what they call, so that is this one. Since it's a long one, she was using this Vidhyaashram to as a pen name to write stories and all. Okay, so she was basically a writer, an editor, a translator. So many roles she has played there. Okay, so she was also a musician, educator, and also a political activist. Okay, so there is a lot to learn about Vidhyaashram other than we see her as a writer. Okay, so if you get time, if you get a chance to know about Vidhyaashram, it's good that you understand about her. Okay, so the second part, that is we too are human beings. This is an autobiographical writing in nature. Okay, so Bama is the author of it. Okay, so Bama, whose name is Faustina Susairaj, okay, she was a Tamil writer. Okay, she was from a low caste and she writes about her experiences in the story. Fine. She's from a Dalit family in Tamil Nadu and she is a feminist, also a teacher as well as a novelist. Okay, this story what you are reading here is an excerpt from her autobiography, that is Karuku. Okay, so Karuku is the name of the autobiography and this is one story from there. Okay, so we have understood about the author as well as the theme. Okay, so now we'll move on to the summary of part 1, that is the first story in this Memories of Childhood. Okay, so the first story is the cutting of my long hair. As the title tells you, you can understand that this is something about a girl getting her hair cut. Okay, so what is there in that story? Let us understand. So this Vidhyaashram was a Native American. She experienced severe prejudices. Okay, that means she was not used to the practices that were there in the place she was studying. Okay, so she was in a hostel kind of place there. Okay, somewhere when she talks about apples, the mist and all, we feel she was somewhere in a cold area where there was snowfall and all. Okay, so that she was staying in that place and she was actually not very used to the rules of that place. Okay, so the place where she was, she has only one friend, that is Judwin. Okay, she shares one of her experiences, like many of her experiences over there. Okay, one of her experiences is that she goes to the dining hall. Okay, she was not used to what practice that was going on there. She goes to the dining hall and there she sees that everybody is standing near the chair, and there the first bell will ring and they have to just pull the chair and they have to stand and they are not allowed to sit. But she doesn't know the rules there. So what does she do? She just pulls the chair and she sits off. She just slips into her chair. Then she sees everybody is still standing. That was at the strike of the first bell. Okay, so they were supposed to sit at the strike of the second bell. Okay, she did not know this rule, so what she did, she sat off in the first strike only. Okay, so then she was feeling very awkward when she sat there. Then second bell everybody sat, and the third bell they were supposed to start eating. But that time she felt so embarrassed that she started crying at the strike of third bell. So that time there was an old lady. Okay, there was a pale faced lady who had been watching her from a very long time. Okay, so Judwin also talks about that pale-faced woman. Okay, so what does Judwin tell? Judwin, her friend. Okay, so Zitkala's friend is Judwin. She also had a long hair. Okay, so she had spoken about a pale-faced lady. Okay, she tells that how she spoke to that lady, how Judwin spoke to that lady. Since Judwin knew few words of English, she could communicate with that pale-faced lady. Okay, so they were talking that they have to trim the hair of this Judwin as well as Zitkala Saz. Okay, so they were talking something about their haircut and they wanted to cut it to shingled hair. Okay, shingle means something which is very short. Okay, just below the level of your ears, above the shoulder level but below the level of ears. Okay, so she wanted that hair to be cut to that shingle level. Okay, so they were talking about that. Now what this Zitkala Sa does, she decides in her mind only that she should not yield to that whatever they are asking them to do. Okay, means she didn't want that hair to be cut. That was because Zitkala's mother had put in that belief in Zitkala that whoever had short hair, they are not warriors. Okay, so those who were not unskilled, only they had short hair is what Zitkala's mom had told her. So she was very reluctant to get her hair cut. Okay, she struggles a lot. Okay, you must read how she faces, how she rebels to get her hair cut. Okay, she hides under the cot and all in order to avoid getting a haircut. But finally her hair was cut. Okay, she was treated like an animal. That's what she says in the end. Okay, she was treated like an animal. She was just lifted and brought to the place where the haircut was supposed to happen. Her hands were tied to the arms of the chair so that she will not move. Okay, she moved her head also so that they will not hold her hair and cut it. But what happened? Initially, whatever spirit she had, that was all broken. That was all subsided when they started trimming her hair. Okay, how much ever she tried, she could not avoid getting her hair cut. Okay, so initially whatever spirit she had, at the last eventually it reduced and it stopped. Okay, so finally her hair was cut. Okay, so she was equal to all other people over there. She also had a very short hair now. Okay, she tells that how she was treated like an animal over there. Okay, so this is there in the first part, that is the cutting of my long hair. Okay, so now we move on to the second part, that is we too are human beings. Okay, so here you can understand that we too are human beings speak something about the emotions of humans. Okay, so in this second part, that is Bama is the author of this, she talks about the experiences of Dalit families. Okay, how they face the prejudices, how they face the ill practices of society. That is what she talks about. Okay, so Bama has written it. She herself is from a Tamil Dalit family. Okay, so she was a feminist, as we have already learnt. Okay, so Bama is the author of this story and she shares her experiences during her third standard. When she was in third grade, she experiences this. Okay, so she is telling about that over here. Okay, so she talks about her walk from school to home and home to school. Okay, so that way was there only for 10 minutes. Okay, she could cover that way only in 10 minutes. But what would she do? She would stand and watch whatever is going on the way, and she would take 30 minutes minimum to reach home or to reach school. Okay, so why is that? She was fascinated by nature. She used to watch the puppet show or maybe some snake charming like this. There are many places where she would stop and watch everything. Okay, so she used to enjoy whatever that came on her way when she was going to school or when she was walking back home. So she enjoyed everything, whatever was going on there. She used to enjoy, like the snake charming, she used to enjoy. She used to stop and watch this puppet show. She used to watch birds. So all these she used to watch and she used to stay there, stop every place for maybe 5-10 minutes, and she used to reach home or to the school maybe in 30 minutes. Okay, that was minimum. So at the max she would take 1 hour also sometimes, whenever she had other attractions also. Okay, so she narrates that in the initial part. Then she used to stand and watch the puppet show. That is the important thing she talks about, because she loved puppet show. Okay, so one day what happened, she was watching that threshing place. Okay, so threshing floor means the place where the yield, the paddy yield is got, and they thresh and get all the grains removed from the stock. Okay, so she was standing and watching that in that threshing floor. So what happens there? She observes a person, that is an old man, who was holding a string, and at the end of the string there is a bag. Okay, so there is a cover kind of thing. Okay, so that bag, it was stained with oil. So that time she just sees, she was observing, she was waiting that that bag would fall down. Okay, because the bag looked heavy, but the string which he was holding, it was very thin. Okay, so she was thinking that it would fall down any moment. Okay, she was also thinking that there might be vadas in that, and she would also get to eat those vadas because it may fall down. Okay, so somehow she was just standing and watching. That was actually an amusement for her. Then what happens? That person comes and gives it to the landlord, and landlord just opens it and stuffs all that vada into his mouth. So this was actually a fun incident for her. She goes back, and in that same comedy tone only, she shares it with her brother. Okay, so her brother also, he listens to what this girl was telling. Okay, she narrates all this incident to her brother there. Okay, so her brother doesn't laugh. What happens? The brother is actually used to whatever she tells. Okay, so what does he say? He tells his own experience to her. So what does he say? She tells everything in a comedy tone. Then he starts telling about one of the incidents he faced when he was young. Okay, so he was studying in the university. That time he had come home for holidays. Okay, so that time he was just roaming around in the village there. So they live in a village, and he had come from city to village. The college was in the city, that is university was in the city. He had come home to vacation. Okay, so that time he was walking in the way of that, in between paddy field, there will be some way wherein that people can walk. Okay, so he was walking there, and that time somebody from behind, they came running and they spoke to him. Okay, so they asked his name, and they are telling, where are you going? All these details they were inquiring. But last question was, which street do you live in? Okay, that means practice that was there, that was existing during the olden days, that is at the time when they are talking about that point of their life. So that time what practices existed? So it was like, if they know which street you are living in, that means they will also know your caste. Okay, so people will be ill treated because of their caste. So what this boy does, what this brother does, Bama calls her brother as Annan. Okay, so what Annan does is, he doesn't tell his caste. Okay, only because if that person comes to know about his street, he will also know about the caste. Okay, so he doesn't tell anything, he just walks off just like that. Okay, so this incident is shared by Bama's brother to Bama. Okay, so that time Bama stops laughing. Okay, so she gets so furious, she actually feels very disgusted. Okay, so she asks how this practice can be get rid of. Okay, how can we take this out from this society, is what she asks. So the brother tells her, we need to study well. Okay, only with the help of this education we can get all the whatever prejudice they have in their mind can be removed. Okay, you need to study well, and you need to come over all these. Okay, you need to stand high compared to all the other people. Okay, he, like other people, by the word other people, he meant that the people who belong to the higher caste. Okay, the people, the landlords, or the people who always used to take. Okay, those people only he is talking about. He also tells about the people who used to take all their, like they used to pay money to the people of low caste. They grow the crops, they put in their hard work, but what do the landlords do? They just pay them, and they ask them to leave the field. Okay, so whatever these people have put in hard effort, and whatever they have grown, that will be for the landlords. These people, that is the people from low caste, should be happy with whatever they get. Okay, so all these, when brother shares, Bama asks him what to do. He tells her, he advises her to study well and stand first in the class. So what she does, she studies as if she is in a frenzy, means she has got into, she is possessed. Okay, she's got into a kind of frenzy, a kind of trance. Okay, so she sits and studies like that, and yes, she stands first in the class. That is during her 3rd grade. Okay, with the only intention that she wanted to get rid of all these practices, she wanted to remove all these thoughts from the people's mind. Okay, so this is all about the second part, that is, we too are human beings. In these two lessons, you can see, in these two stories, you can see that there are prejudices, there are ill practices of societies that the authors have faced, and they have put it in the form of writing. Okay, so you also might have come across so many incidents. Fine. So yes, since you might also have come across, you also will feel that yes, such practices should be removed from the society. So let us see how you will contribute. So coming to an end of this session, we shall now meet again in our another interesting, that is more interesting session to you. Okay, so let us meet again. Till then, keep learning. I would suggest you to read these stories in detail. Please mark the doubts whatever you have. Okay, there are no new words here, so reading will be very easy for you. Okay, in 10 minutes you can finish both the stories. Okay, so yes, please come prepared for the class. Come with the doubts if at all you have any, mark it in the pencil, and come with the textbook as well as pencil. Remember, this is in Vistas. Okay, so take care, keep learning. Let us meet again shortly. Okay, bye bye, take care, see you soon.